2 years ago, a 24-year-old woman named Devon was living in a rundown duplex in Queens, New York. The small house was split right down the middle, with Devon renting the left side and a man renting the right. Devon had never met or even seen her neighbor. Her landlord just said he was a private person who worked nights, which didn't bother her at first. Her bedroom was on the second floor, and the dividing wall between her room and her neighbor's was paper so thin, in fact, that if she pressed her ear against it, she could sometimes hear subtle movements from the other side. The first week was quiet. Devon was working long, exhausting shifts and coming home to crash. She was just happy to have a place to herself. But then one night, everything changed. She was lying in bed, scrolling on her phone, when she heard a man's voice. It was faint, coming from the room next door, but it was reedy and high-pitched, almost like he was trying to disguise it. The thin wall made it feel like he was standing right beside her. She couldn't make out what he was saying, just odd mumbling. It was unnerving, but eventually, it stopped, and she managed to fall asleep. A few nights later, the mumbling returned, but this time it was louder. It was definitely the sound of a man talking to himself. Devon pressed her ear to the wall to listen. It wasn't a phone call. It seemed like he was having a full-blown conversation with himself. She found it both funny and a little creepy. She pulled the covers over her head and tried to sleep, realizing this was the first night she'd felt truly uneasy, living there alone. 2 weeks after that, the knocking started. In the middle of the night, when Devon was half asleep, she heard 2 distinct knocks on the wall, right next to her head. The sound was so close it startled her, as if someone had physically touched her. She sat up in bed, heart pounding, and waited. Then, 2 identical knocks came again from the other side. She knew for certain it wasn't just the old house creaking. She huddled in her bed, trembling. She thought about knocking back, but a cold fear stopped her. Responding might just make things worse. For the next week, the knocking continued. Sometimes it was light, sometimes it was hard, but it was always at night when she was trying to sleep. One night, the knocking went on for so long that she had to put on headphones and turn her fan up to its highest setting. She lay awake for hours, just thinking about that thin dividing wall, about the mere 6 inches of space between her room and her neighbor. The fear was growing with each passing night, but she tried to reassure herself that maybe it was all just accidental noise. Then, one night, everything escalated. Devon was lying on her side, facing the wall, her eyes closed but not yet asleep. She heard the now familiar sound. 3 slow knocks. She tried to stay calm, keeping her eyes shut, pretending nothing was happening. Then, the reedy man's voice came through the wall again, but this time it wasn't muffled. She heard every single word, clear as day. "What are you doing in there?" Her lungs seized up. She shot up in bed, trembling so hard she could feel her teeth chattering. This wasn't accidental anymore. He was directly acknowledging her presence. He seemed to know she was right there, on the other side of the wall. In sheer terror, she grabbed her phone and called her boyfriend, whispering the entire story. He promised to come stay with her immediately. Devon kept every light in the house on until he arrived. The next few days were completely quiet. The silence was so absolute, it made Devon start to doubt herself. Had it all been some strange coincidence? A product of an overactive imagination. But just a few nights later, something happened that made her flee the house for good. This time, Devon was fast asleep. She was jolted awake by a sound. The knocking had started again, but it felt different. It was like someone was tapping a single finger right next to her head. A wave of panic washed over her. Her adrenaline spiked, and she screamed into the darkness, demanding that whoever was making the noise leave her alone. She didn't know what to expect, but what happened next was the last thing she could have ever anticipated. A voice came from inside her room. It was a deep, close voice that whispered from the darkness, "Go to sleep." Devon screamed, a raw, primal sound, and launched herself out of bed, running for her life. The moment of running through the hallway and down the stairs was a blur of pure chaos. The last thing she remembers is bursting out the front door and into the street, screaming for help over and over again. She didn't even have shoes on. A man from 2 houses down came outside, looking at her in confusion. She begged him to call her boyfriend, but he advised her to call the police instead. She waited on the man's sidewalk, shaking and sobbing uncontrollably until the police arrived. She was 100% certain someone was inside her house. 2 officers went in. The front door was still wide open from her frantic escape. They came back a few minutes later and reported no signs of forced entry. Devon couldn't remember if she'd unlocked the door on her way out. They checked every room, every corner, every closet, but found no one. They also knocked on the neighbor's door, but no one answered, even though there were packages on the porch and a car in the driveway. Finally, her boyfriend came to pick her up. The next morning, Devon called her landlord, recounted the entire terrifying event, and demanded to be let out of her lease. Immediately, after a long, stressful negotiation, the landlord agreed. Devon only returned to the house with her boyfriend to move her belongings out. She refused to set foot in there alone. They knocked on the neighbor's door several times, but they never got a response. Later, the landlord informed Devon that the neighbor had also moved out, without a word to anyone. To this day, Devon doesn't know what really happened. Was it the neighbor who somehow got into her room? Did someone else break in, undetected by the police? Or was it all a product of extreme psychological stress? She's always felt she knew the difference between reality and hallucination, but the events of that time have left her with a permanent scar. What truly happened in that Queens duplex remains a haunting, unsolved mystery. Thanks for watching. If you have a story you'd like to share, let me know in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe for more strange and mysterious stories. Stay safe out there.